They laughed when security escorted me out, and today I watched that same room go silent when they realized I own everything.
I saw her kiss him. Not a misunderstanding. Not a, maybe I'm overthinking this kind of moment. No, her hand was on his chest, his fingers wrapped around her waist. And they weren't even trying to hide it. Right there, inside the office building. My office building. And the crazy part? They were smiling. Laughing like they'd just gotten away with something. Like I was a joke. Like I didn't exist. And the worst part? He leaned in and said something that made her laugh. And I heard it. He's too busy trying to impress me. He'd never figure it out. I didn't move. Didn't react. Didn't even breathe properly. Because in that exact moment, watching my girlfriend kiss my boss inside the company I owned, I realized something. They had no idea who I really was. My name is Aram. I'm 32, and if you asked anyone at the office who I was, they'd probably say something like, quiet guy, works hard, bit of a pushover. Yeah, that's the version of me they knew, the version I let them see. Because for the past year, I wasn't just working there, I was watching, learning, testing people. See, the company wasn't just some random corporate job I landed. It was mine, not publicly. Not officially announced, but through a chain of ownership investments and a situation I'll explain later. I controlled everything, and no one knew, especially not him. My boss, and definitely not her, my girlfriend, Sarah. I met Sarah about a year and a half ago. It wasn't anything dramatic, no movie-style moment or love at first sight. She walked into a cafe I used to go to after work, sat 2 tables away. Dropped her phone. I picked it up. She smiled. We started talking. That's it. Simple. But somehow it worked. At least, I thought it did. She was funny in a casual way, not trying too hard. She had this confidence about her that made you feel like she always knew exactly what she was doing. And maybe that should have been my first warning sign. Because looking back now, she always knew how to control the situation. Even back then. At the start, everything felt normal. We'd meet after work, talk about random things, complain about life, share stupid stories. She told me about her job. Same company as mine, different department. That should have been a coincidence. But now, feels like something else entirely. Back then, I didn't think twice. Why would I? She didn't know I owned the company. And I didn't tell her, because I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I wanted something real. Something that didn't change the second money or power entered the conversation. So I stayed quiet, played my role, just another employee, just another guy trying to make it. And for a while, it felt real. She'd text me first, call me randomly, even show up at my place with food when I was too tired to cook. Those small things, they matter. Or at least they used to, because slowly, things started shifting. Not all at once. Not in a way that screams something's wrong. It was subtle, the kind of change that creeps in quietly. At first, it was the late replies, then the canceled plans, then the I'm just tired excuses. And yeah, I noticed I'm not blind, but I didn't jump to conclusions either. Because when you trust someone, you give them the benefit of the doubt, even when something doesn't feel right. At work, things weren't exactly smooth either. My boss, Faisal, was the kind of guy who liked power a little too much. Mid-40s, loud, confident, the type who thinks being disrespectful is the same thing as being dominant. And for some reason, he always had a problem with me. Nothing obvious, nothing you could report, just small things, comments in meetings, backhanded compliments, little digs that made everyone else laugh just enough to make it uncomfortable. Aram, maybe try speaking up next time if you have anything useful to say. Good effort, but not exactly leadership material, huh? Stuff like that. Every single week. And I took it, sat there, stayed quiet, played the role, because reacting would have ruined everything. And I wasn't ready for that yet. But then something changed, not just with him. With her, Sarah, she started mentioning him. At first, casually, "Oh, Faisal said this today. Faisal thinks the company's going in a new direction. Faisal this, Faisal that." And I didn't like it, not because she mentioned him, but because of how she said his name. There was something in her tone, something I couldn't explain at the time, but I felt it. And when you feel something like that, you don't ignore it. You just wait, watch. One night, she canceled on me again, said she had extra work, late meeting, wouldn't be available, normal excuse. But this time, something didn't sit right. So instead of going home, I stayed in the office long after everyone else left. Or at least, I thought everyone else left. Because around 9:40 p.m., I heard voices from down the hallway, low, casual, comfortable, not the kind of tone people use in late meetings. So I stood up, walked slowly, didn't make a sound, and as I got closer, I recognized her voice. Sarah, soft, laughing, relaxed, not stressed, not tired, laughing. And then his voice, Faisal, right after her. I stopped just before the corner, heart steady, mind completely clear. No panic, no overthinking, just awareness. And then I leaned slightly, just enough to see. And that's when I saw them, standing too close, closer than colleagues, closer than boss and employee. Her hand brushing his arm, his body angled toward hers. And then he said something I couldn't fully hear. But whatever it was, she smiled. Not the kind of smile she gave me. This one was different, sharper, more intentional. And before I could process it, he leaned in, and she didn't move away. That moment, that exact second, everything slowed down. Not in a dramatic way. In a clear way, like your brain just stops filtering things and shows you reality exactly as it is. No excuses, no denial, just truth. And the truth was simple. She wasn't mine, not in the way I thought. And he wasn't just my boss. I stepped back before they could see me. Quietly, carefully, no noise, no reaction, because reacting right then would have been a mistake. And I don't make emotional mistakes. Not anymore. I walked back to my desk, sat down, looked at my phone. No messages from her. Nothing, like I didn't exist. And that's when it hit me. Not the betrayal, not the anger. Something else, something colder. They thought I was weak. They thought I was clueless. They thought they were getting away with it. And that was their biggest mistake. About 10 minutes later, I heard footsteps, 2 sets, walking toward the exit, still talking, still relaxed, still confident. And as they passed by the glass panel near my desk, I didn't look up, but I saw their reflection, just enough. And this time, there was no doubt, no confusion, no maybe, because as they stopped near the door, he pulled her closer, and she didn't hesitate, not even for a second. I didn't follow them, didn't call her, didn't text, didn't confront, because the moment you react too early, you lose control. And I wasn't about to lose control. Not now. Not when everything was finally starting to make sense. Instead, I did something else. Something they would never expect. I smiled, not because it was funny, not because it didn't hurt, but because I finally saw the full picture. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Because now, it wasn't just about betrayal. It wasn't just about her, or him. It was about something bigger. Something they had no idea they were walking into. And the craziest part? They still thought I was just an employee. Still thought I was beneath them. Still thought I had no power, no control, no way of doing anything about it. They were wrong. Completely wrong. Because what they didn't know, what no one in that entire building knew, was that the company they were risking everything for, the place they felt so comfortable hiding their little secret in, the place where he thought he was untouchable, belonged to me, and I wasn't going to confront them. Not yet. I was going to watch, plan, and then, when the time was right, I was going to make sure they both understood exactly who they were playing with. But before that, I needed proof, real proof, not just a moment, not just a suspicion, something undeniable, something that would destroy them both in one move. And as I sat there that night, looking at the empty office, hearing the silence settle in, I realized something else. Something even worse. This wasn't new, which meant I had no idea how long this had been going on. And that changed everything. I didn't sleep that night. Not even for a minute. Not because I was emotional. Not because I was sitting there broken or replaying memories like some kind of movie. No, it was the opposite. My mind was quiet. Too quiet. Like everything had clicked into place. And now there was only one thing left to do. Figure out how deep this actually went. Because that's the part people get wrong about situations like this. They think the moment you catch something, that's the worst of it. It's not. The worst part is realizing that what you saw was just the surface. I got to the office earlier than usual the next morning. Way earlier. Around 7:10 a.m. The building was almost empty. Just a couple of security staff, cleaning crew, and that early morning silence that makes everything feel slower. I liked that silence. It gave me space to think. And more importantly, it gave me space to move without being noticed. I didn't go to my desk. Instead, I went straight to one place most people don't even think about. The back-end office. The one connected to internal systems, admin access, and surveillance logs. Now here's the thing. As the silent owner, I had access to everything. But I didn't use it openly. Everything I did had to look normal, traceable, like any mid-level employee just doing his job. So I didn't walk in like I owned the place. I walked in like someone who had a reason to be there. Badge, calm face, no hesitation. The security guy at the desk looked up early today. I gave a small shrug. Deadline. He nodded, didn't question it. People rarely question things when you act like you belong. Once I got inside, I closed the door behind me, sat down, logged into a terminal. And that's when things started getting real, because I wasn't guessing anymore. I wasn't assuming. I was about to see everything. First thing I checked, camera logs, not live feed, history, specific areas, hallways, elevators, office floors, timestamps from the previous night. And there they were, clear as day. Faisal and Sarah, walking together, not professionally, not like colleagues, close, too close. And then a clip from the side hallway, the same one I stood near, different angle, clearer view, him pulling her in, her not resisting, her actually leaning into it. I didn't pause the video, didn't zoom in, didn't replay it, because I didn't need to. One look was enough. But I kept going, because I wasn't looking for confirmation anymore. I was looking for a pattern. So I went back, days, then a week, then 2, and that's when I felt it. That shift, that moment where something ugly becomes undeniable, because it wasn't a one-time thing. It wasn't recent. It wasn't even subtle. They'd been meeting like this for weeks, maybe longer. Same timing, same areas, late evenings. Sometimes even during work hours. Quick interactions, private conversations, small touches that most people would miss unless they were looking for them. And I leaned back in my chair, stared at the screen, and for the first time since last night, something hit me. Not anger, not heartbreak, something colder, something sharper, disrespect, not just from her, from him too, from both of them. Because this wasn't just cheating. This wasn't just a relationship going wrong. They were doing this inside the company, using time, space, authority, like it was nothing, like there were no consequences, like they owned the place. I almost laughed at that. Almost, because the irony was insane. I closed the footage, copied the relevant clips, saved them securely, not on the company system, not anywhere traceable, somewhere safe. Somewhere only I had access to. But I wasn't done, not even close. Because if this was happening on the surface, then there was more underneath. There always is. So I moved to the next thing. Internal logs, access cards, office entries, conference room bookings, anything that could show patterns, connections, overlap. And again, there it was. Sarah accessing floors she didn't need to be on. Faisal booking rooms and canceling them last minute, time gaps, unaccounted hours. And then something interesting, something small but important, expense approvals. Faisal had been signing off on certain client meetings, late evening dinners, private reservations, things that didn't fully add up. At first glance, it looked normal, but when you line it up with the timing of everything else, it wasn't. He wasn't just crossing a line. He was using company resources to do it. Now that changes things. Because personal betrayal, that's one thing. Messy, emotional, complicated. But professional misconduct, that's clean. That's structured. That's something you can destroy someone with. I sat there for a moment, letting everything settle. All the pieces, all the connections. And then I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront them. Not privately. Not emotionally. Not like someone who just got cheated on. No, I was going to do this properly, strategically, because they didn't just lie to me. They disrespected me. In my own space. In my own company. Thinking they were untouchable. That kind of confidence only comes from one thing. Belief. They believed I was nothing, and I was about to use that. The next few days, I played it normal. Exactly the same. Same routine. Same behavior. Same silence. At work, Faisal kept doing what he always did. Talking down to me in meetings. Making those little comments. Trying to establish dominance. And I let him. Aram, you need to be more proactive. Aram, I don't think you're seeing the bigger picture here. I nodded, took notes, didn't react. Because every time he spoke like that, I could see it now. The arrogance, the ignorance, the fact that he genuinely believed he was in control. And Sarah, she acted like nothing was wrong. Still texted me. Still called sometimes. Still played that same role. But there was a difference now. I wasn't responding the same way. Short replies. No emotion. No engagement. And she noticed. Of course she did. People like her always notice when the dynamic shifts. One evening, she called me. Out of nowhere. Her tone slightly different. Are you okay? Simple question. But there was something behind it. Something cautious. I kept my voice steady. Yeah. Why? She paused for a second. I don't know. You've just been a bit distant. Distant? I almost smiled. I've just been busy. Another pause. Longer this time. Okay. She didn't push further. Didn't ask more questions. Didn't try to dig deeper. And that told me everything I needed to know. Because if she really cared, she would have asked more. Pressed harder. But she didn't. Because somewhere in her mind, she already knew. Not that I knew, but that something had changed. And instead of fixing it, she was waiting, watching, just like me. That night, I didn't go home right away. I stayed in the office again. Not in the open. Not at my desk. Somewhere quieter. And this time, I wasn't just observing. I was planning, because I had enough now. More than enough. Evidence. Patterns. Proof. But timing? Timing was everything. You don't drop something like this randomly. You don't confront people in private and give them a chance to twist the story. No, you wait, you build, you control the moment, and then you end it in one move. So I started setting things up, small things first. A company-wide meeting, mandatory, end of the week, nothing unusual, just a standard review session. Everyone would be there, departments, managers, staff, including Faisal, including Sarah. And they had no idea what was coming. The next step, making sure they felt safe, comfortable, untouchable. So I did the one thing they'd never expect. I acted like nothing had changed, even softer, even quieter. Gave Faisal exactly what he wanted. Agreement, compliance, no resistance. And that made him even more confident. You could see it in the way he carried himself, the way he spoke, the way he looked at me, like I was beneath him. And Sarah? She relaxed too, started texting more again, acting normal, even suggested we meet one evening. I agreed, not because I wanted to, but because I needed to see one thing, how far she was willing to go. And that night, she answered that question, completely, because halfway through dinner, her phone buzzed. She looked at it, paused, then flipped it over, face down, but not before I saw the name, Faisal. And in that moment, everything became crystal clear. This wasn't just something happening in secret. This was something active, ongoing, comfortable, and she wasn't even trying to hide it properly anymore, which meant one thing. She thought she had control. She thought she was managing both sides, me and him. And that was exactly what I needed, because people make their biggest mistakes when they think they've already won. I finished dinner like nothing happened, talked normally, acted calm, dropped her home, and as she got out of the car, she leaned in slightly, like she always did. But this time, I didn't move, just looked at her, and for a split second, something changed in her expression. Confusion, just a hint. Then she smiled again, closed the door, walked away, and I sat there for a moment, watching her leave, knowing one thing for sure. They had no idea what was about to happen, because the meeting was already set, the evidence already secured, and the version of me they thought they knew was about to disappear completely. But before that, there was one final thing I needed to confirm, one last piece, and what I found the next day was worse than everything else combined. The final confirmation didn't come from a big discovery. It came from something small, something almost stupid. A single message notification I caught on Sarah's screen when she left her phone unlocked for barely 2 seconds. But that 2 seconds was enough. Enough to see, can't wait for the meeting. After that, everything changes. No names needed. No context needed. I already knew who it was from, Faisal, and I already knew what she meant. She thought the meeting was just another boring corporate update. She thought life would go on the same way after. Like nothing ever catches up to people like them. That belief, that comfort, that arrogance, that was the final ingredient. Because now I didn't just have betrayal. I had confidence on their side. And confidence is what people rely on right before they fall. The day of the meeting arrived. The office felt normal on the surface. People walking in with laptops, coffee cups, small talk in hallways. Nothing unusual. That's the funny thing about moments like this. The world doesn't feel like it's about to change. It feels boring, ordinary, almost disappointing. I arrived early, not as Aram the employee, as Aram who had already decided how this story ends. I didn't go to my usual desk. I went straight to the executive conference floor, the biggest room in the building, glass walls, long table, projector screen at the front, the kind of place where decisions are made and people's lives quietly change. Faisal was already there when I walked in, smiling, confident, relaxed in that annoying way people get when they think everything is under control. He nodded at me like usual. Aram, set up the slides properly today, yeah? Don't mess it up. A small laugh from another manager. Normal behavior for him. Normal humiliation for me. Or at least what he thought was normal. I didn't respond. Just gave a small nod and started setting up the laptop. Behind me, I could feel him talking again. Something about budgets. Something about direction of the company. And then I heard her voice. Sarah, she had arrived a few minutes after him. She didn't look at me properly. Just a quick glance. A soft smile. Like we were still okay. Like nothing was happening. That was the part that almost made it worse. Not the betrayal. Not the lies. But how easily they both lived in it. Like it was just another part of their day. People started filling the room. Managers. Team leads. HR. Finance. Even a few senior executives from other branches. The room slowly turned into what looked like a normal quarterly meeting. Faisal stood at the front, clapping once. All right, everyone, let's get started. He looked at me. Aram, start the presentation. That moment, that exact instruction, it hit differently today. Because today, I wasn't following orders. I was ending them. I clicked the remote. The screen lit up. First slide appeared. Company overview. Nothing unusual. People relaxed. Phones came out. Some leaned back in chairs. Bored already. Faisal smiled slightly, like he expected this. Like he expected everything. Second slide. Performance metrics. Charts. Numbers. Growth. Still normal. Still safe. Then I paused. Not too long. Just enough to make it noticeable. A few people looked up. Faisal frowned slightly. Move on, he said under his breath. Confident, impatient. I clicked again, and the room changed, because instead of charts, the screen showed a video. Security footage. Hallway. Late evening. Faisal. Sarah. Walking together. Too close. Too comfortable. A few people immediately straightened. Phones paused. The room got quieter without anyone saying anything. Faisal leaned forward. What is this? His voice still calm, but slightly tighter. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. The video continued. Second clip. Same hallway. Different night. Sarah laughing. Faisal pulling her closer. Her not resisting. A few gasps now. Someone shifted in their seat. HR's expression changed instantly. Faisal stood up. Turned that off. Louder now. I clicked again. Third clip. Conference room footage. Company property. Company hours. Now the silence wasn't just awkward. It was heavy. Sarah's face had gone pale. She wasn't moving, just staring at the screen like her brain hadn't caught up yet. Faisal turned toward her quickly, then back to me. You planned this? Still no answer from me, because I wasn't finished. I clicked again. This time, documents appeared. Expense approvals. Fake client meetings. Internal resource misuse. His signature. Repeated. Over weeks. Now, people weren't just watching. They were understanding. Slowly, but clearly, whispers started. Confusion turning into realization. Realization turning into shock. Faisal's voice rose. This is edited. This is manipulation. He pointed at me. Do you even understand what you're doing? I finally spoke. Calm. Controlled. Not emotional. Not angry. Just final. I understand perfectly. Silence again. I looked at him directly now. For the first time. No employee mask. No pretending. Just truth. You've been using company resources for personal affairs. Pause. A few people looked at each other. You've been misusing authority. Another pause. And you've been doing it inside a company you don't even control. That last line changed everything. Because it wasn't just about misconduct anymore. It was about position, power, hierarchy. Faisal laughed once. A short, nervous laugh. What are you talking about? You're just... He stopped, mid-sentence, because I took one step forward and pressed the next button. Final slide. Ownership structure. The company tree appeared. Layered, detailed, clean, no ambiguity. And at the top, one name, mine. No one spoke. Not immediately. It took a few seconds for it to register, for brains to catch up, for reality to settle. Faisal stared at the screen, then at me, then back at the screen again. No, he said it quietly at first, then louder. No, that's not possible. Sarah whispered something behind him, barely audible. My name, confused, like she was trying to connect two versions of me that suddenly didn't match anymore. I stepped closer, slow, controlled. This meeting, I said, wasn't to review performance. Pause. It was to finalize decisions. Now HR stood up, trying to regain control. Aram, this need to be handled privately. I cut them off. No, simple. One word. Final. Then I looked at Faisal. Really looked at him. For the first time since everything started. You liked reminding me where I stand. I said, a pause. You just never checked where you were standing. His expression changed. The confidence was gone now. Not fully panic yet, but close. Very close. Sarah stepped forward slightly. Aram, Her voice cracked halfway. She stopped, didn't finish, because there was nothing to say. Not anymore. I didn't look at her for long. Just enough, then turned back to Faisal. Effective immediately, I said, you are terminated. Pause. No discussion. Then I looked around the room, at everyone watching, everyone silent, everyone processing. And this company, I added, does not tolerate abuse of power. That was it. The final line. Not dramatic, not emotional, just clean. Faisal tried to speak again, but no words came out properly. He looked around the room like someone would back him up. No one did, because at that point, there was nothing left to back up. Sarah sank into her chair slowly. No tears yet, just shock. That empty kind of realization when you finally understand the situation you created for yourself. Security was called. Not loudly, not aggressively, just quietly, professionally. Faisal was escorted out, still trying to speak, still trying to argue, but no one was listening anymore. And Sarah, she didn't fight it. She just watched, quiet, still, like she was waiting for the moment to rewind. But nothing rewinds. Not this. The room stayed silent even after they left. No one knew what to say. No one knew how to process it. And I just stood there, in the middle of it all, calm, breathing normally, like none of it had shaken me. Because truthfully, it didn't. Not anymore. The damage had already happened before today. Today was just correction. I turned off the screen, closed the laptop, and walked out of the room. Behind me, I could hear whispers starting again, but none of them mattered, because the story they thought they were in wasn't the story I was writing. Outside the conference room, the hallway felt quieter, cleaner somehow. My phone buzzed. A message from HR, from legal, from management, all asking the same thing in different words. What do we do now? I didn't reply immediately, just looked at the screen for a second, then typed one line. We moved forward, and I locked my phone, because for them, that was the end of everything. But for me, that was just a moment they finally understood. They were never in control, not even once.